many people on the call today or in the talk are not investors necessarily, but they are leaders in organizations. They're responsible for hiring, for promotions. So how do you think that they can take this kind of metric of distance traveled when they're thinking about who to hire and who to promote?
Well, I think it's a great question. And I think using a distance traveled framework ought to begin in things like college admissions, not just in hiring, but I think across the whole pipeline. Distance traveled, it tells you a lot about somebody's character. It tells you a lot about their persistence. It tells you a lot about their ability to, hit a brick wall and figure out a way around it, which sometimes people from more privileged or, cushier backgrounds sometimes are not very good at problem solving because they've had plenty of resources and other people to solve problems for them. So you get a real sense of an individual's persistence and motivation when you use a distance travel metric. I think businesses would do well to rethink, especially if they're doing keyword searches across resumes. I think they would do well to rethink what they're looking for, and to not use proxies. I think of college degrees as proxies for socioeconomic status, not really for achievement. And I think there are different things you can ask in interviews, different things you can ask on applications about what people think they have, the insights and contributions they've developed on their own.
Mitch, did you want to add anything there? I saw. No,
no, I'm good. I take my inspiration from Freada. She is really the architect of what we've been doing at Kapor Capital.
Okay. So I think, distance traveled is important, definitely for the kinds of, I guess, like a persistence or even sometimes we hear this referred to as grit, kind of that variable about being able to deal with problems and come up with solutions and not necessarily, need someone else to kind of hand them to you.
Exactly. Well, and I also think, sometimes you, in the hiring context, especially if you're looking for hiring a manager who, and you care about their ability to manage a diverse group of employees, instead of just asking, in theory, do you think that's a good idea? You can ask for very specific examples. Tell us about your life experiences on multiracial, multi-ethnic, multi-generational, multi-gender, multi-everything. Tell us about your life experiences working on teams like that. What did you see as the difficulties? What did you see as the advantages in your own experience as a manager? Tell us about your track record hiring, promoting, and retaining diverse teams. So then you get out of the abstract and you find out in this person, do they have the skills? Do they now have the lived experience to apply to your business?
Okay. I'm going to ask you a follow-up question that people ask me all the time and I don't know the answer. So I think you will know the answer. So people ask all the time about AI, especially in hiring. What do you think is the potential of AI to help in this regard? So identifying, better metrics around this distance traveled variable, or even around identifying someone's values, for example.
I think the potential is there for AI to be a highly useful assistant in these processes under human supervision. Because one of the things the current technologies are really good at is sifting through a very large amount of information in a directed sort of way to summarize it and to bring it to our attention. So if you had, for instance, I don't know, somebody's work product that they had submitted, lots of documents or something like that, you could actually, I think it is feasible to build an AI tool fairly readily that would actually ask the questions that Freada just referred to and say, so on the record, what do you find in this person's work with respect to their experience of it? And I think it can be highly useful. I would not let it be autonomous in the least. I would not take the human out of the loop, but I think in terms of saving time, in terms of being more comprehensive and more thorough, in terms of turning things up that you might not have thought of, the AI, today's AI, is already going to be highly, highly useful if, here's my big if it's well done, because we're well aware that there can be biases in the training set of data. There can be all kinds of issues. So it really takes a craft person's kind of care today in the software engineering to build tools that we can really rely on and trust. And it will take collaboration between those software developers and the subject matter experts as they're building these systems. So this is not like a slam dunk. I'm just going to use ChatGPT and it's going to, no. But I'm still optimistic because I see the results of what we're doing internally that support this direction.
So for instance, I think one way to pursue this is for organizations, for venture capital firms to look retrospectively, who are your most successful founders? Or for companies to look at who have been your best managers of diverse teams. And so if you do a retroactive look at how did they do it, what was their track record of, did they hire people with different kinds of life experiences? So if the AI, the generative AI, is trained on people who've been successful in your environment, hiring, retaining, promoting diverse talent, then I think they will be able to much better equipped to help spot talent in a resume, in a flood of resumes.